Hello, Tom Hunt here, and thank you so much for jumping into video 2. Today we're going to be talking about something called Gatekeeper Theory, the secret free story promotion strategy, and we're joined again up on the roof here in East London, surrounded by those lovely large corporate buildings that us entrepreneurs and more specifically internet entrepreneurs are ultimately going to disrupt. And that's really kind of why I spend almost all of my time either investing in or building or training internet companies and entrepreneurs, is because I truly believe that innovation is really going to lift the whole world out of this, out of some bad situations, out of poverty, out of disease, out of global warming. It's going to be this improvement is going to be fueled by innovation. So that's really my big why. But let's get into you guys and let's talk about exactly what we're going to be covering today. I'm going to jump into the slides. If you haven't checked out video number 1, I'd highly recommend going and checking that out now. I'll put a link below that at the bottom. But since anybody that ever gets good at online marketing always gets asked the question, how do I get more traffic? And as we know, Tony Robbins says that to lead a successful life, we must ask better questions. Because currently Google's too good, Facebook is too expensive, and spam filters are getting better. We can no longer game the system to get attention online. We need to ask a better question. That better question is, how do I give people what they want in the form of information or content? And this really is the cornerstone of almost success in business and life, but more specifically, getting attention online. And is the cornerstone of the free traffic forever method. And you may kind of remember from video 1 my story. I really learnt the hard way here, where I won't go into the full details, but I had a failed launch because I was trying to build an audience and I wasn't giving the people what they actually wanted. And I was just putting out Me Too, boring, rubbish content, not knowing how to promote that content. And I ended up building a small, weak, unpassionate list. And then when I tried to launch a product to help them take their game to the next level, it failed. And so through that pain and through that wasted time, money, and effort, I designed something called the Free Traffic Forever formula, which is what we're going through in these videos. So video number 1, the challenge was about how do we actually give people what they want. There are 3 things that we needed to define, and that was our customer avatar, the desired end result, the thing that they really needed, and then the hero. Because when you know who you're going to help, your customer avatar, you know what they want, the desired end result, and you can tell a story about someone who is similar to them, who is on the journey to getting their end result, you are able to create a piece of content or a story that is almost like crack to your customer avatar. And this is how you get the attention on the internet to then convert into leads and ultimately into customers. So the problem at the start of video 1 was exactly how do I give somebody what they want? And the solution to that is to define who they are, understand what they want, and then ultimately tell a story about a hero who is doing that. So that was the solution. But then that led us to our next problem, which was when we have this amazing story, which is like crack to our customer avatar, how do we take that from being like a tumbleweed, like that blog post that you posted last month that you shared on LinkedIn and Facebook and had maybe 25 visits and no leads generated or customers generated? How do we go from that to releasing this and experiencing an avalanche of free traffic? So the problem here is that every single day, thousands and thousands of blog posts are being released on the internet, and only a few of them are getting the exposure that they actually deserve. And so that's what we're going to be covering today. Before we jump into the content, I always get asked, why would do I have to spend loads of cash to get exposure for my content? You can get exposure by spending cash, but it's not the only way. I actually the majority of my content promotion tactics, one of them we're going to go through today, are 100% free, and sometimes I supplement that with a boosted post to a custom audience on Facebook, but yes, it's mainly free. And the other objection I get is why, creating and promoting really good content just takes loads of time. Why should I do this? Ultimately, you're doing this because you're becoming the person who really, really helps your custom avatar, who really cares about their end result, and you sort of strive to ensure that they achieve that end result. And so that's really why you should do this. And if you're not in business to really help a group of people, then you probably shouldn't be in business at all. The other sort of upside to this is once you understand the process, have implemented it yourself effectively, you can then go and find someone who has a relatively cheap dollar per hour rate and document the process and hand it over to them. That's what I do. I've had a virtual assistant working with me every day, every weekday since I started working on the internet in 2014. It basically just helps me get more stuff done. So today we're going to be covering the promotion, the secret story promotion tactic that is fueled, or that has been brought to me, or I began to understand this because of something called Gatekeeper Theory. So what we're talking about is how we get posts, how we can enter into communities where a customer avatar exists and get posts like this where we have hundreds of likes and hundreds of comments for absolutely no cost. And not just on Facebook, this can already be sort of replicated on any other community online. You can see here one for our last business, Ask Tina, that got pretty awesome exposure on Reddit. You get the referral traffic to your site from either Facebook, Reddit, Growth Hackers. They're just communities in our niche, but there are communities in your niche that will be sending you all of that traffic. And then also, just to share, it's also working with the private clients that I've been taking through the free traffic forever method. You can see here, this is a completely free post that one of our students posted. 6,000 people reached, 71 reactions for $0 invested, 305 post clicks. So all that free traffic going to the e-commerce site and becoming leads and ultimately customers. So let's talk about content promotion. You can really break down all of online marketing into creating content that people like and then putting that content in front of people. Or actually, like any marketing, even offline marketing, it's all about creating a piece of content that will connect with the customer avatar, e.g. a TV ad, and then distributing that in front of your people. So finding out where they are and then showing them that ad, e.g. A chewing gum company know that their perfect customer avatar watches the Super Bowl. They spend millions creating an awesome piece of content, e.g. a TV ad, and then they pay the TV stations loads of money to put that piece of content in front of those people. So I think exactly what we're doing here. So in video one, we spoke about how we sort of line up to make sure our content is really good. Then we tell the story, and then we need to understand where we can post that piece of content online in order to maximize the amount of eyeballs on it. So there are only really 5 ways or like 5 strategies to promote content online. First is to include contributors in your content so they're incentivized to share stuff for you. Second is your owned media. So this is social following and your own email list, and more on that in a second. Next, communities. We're going to be talking more about that today. Next, partners. So these are other people who are incentivized to share your content with you. And then finally, paid in ads right there. Now, the content promotion cycle, and this is a cyclical, let's call it a flywheel, that when you get it rolling, this is how you're ultimately going to get that massive exposure over time. Now, what we start out by doing is leveraging contributors, communities, partners, and ads. So either putting content into communities that exist, using our contributors or partners to share, or paying, which is fine, to get exposure. And when we do this, what this does is actually builds our owned media list, our social following, and our email list. And then what happens is we can then use those assets to promote the content, make more cash, and then go back to the communities, contributors, partners, and ads to promote again. So the more we get this cycle flowing, the more we're building our own lists, the more exposure we can get for our content. And so what we're going to be talking about today, when we don't have any social following or don't have an email list, how we can harness communities to start building that social following and that email list to start this flywheel going. And so what Gatekeeper Theory is all about is how you infiltrate communities to get that free exposure by leveraging the incentives of the gatekeeper. So, Gatekeeper Theory states that in order to extract value from an online community in the form of attention, we must understand and fulfill the incentives of the gatekeeper or gatekeepers. So this is really understanding who holds the key to the attention of this community, and then how can we incentivize them to share our content for us. Gatekeepers can exist in any of these separate areas: Facebook groups, Reddit, LinkedIn, Slack communities, Google Plus groups, and forums. We need to first, and here's the homework for today's video, the worksheet below that will help you with this, is to identify where the communities are and who those gatekeepers are. We need a list of 10 in order to get this process started. We're going to be focusing, the case study we'll go through today is through Facebook groups, and it's that post that I showed earlier on that got 600 likes and 200 comments. So let's talk about incentives. There are really 4 different players, or 4 different people to understand, 4 different groups of people to understand when we're trying to get a content exposure in a Facebook group. There's you, the members of the group, the Facebook group admin, and then Facebook themselves. So what are the incentives at each of these parties? Your incentive obviously is to get great exposure for your content. The members of the Facebook group, their incentive is to consume relevant content. The admins, e.g. the gatekeepers' incentive, is to keep people engaged within their group. And then Facebook's incentive, another gatekeeper in this situation, is to keep people engaged on their platform so they can make more cash from their ads. So if we are able to engage people in the group, give people content they like, that means those last 3 parties, the members, the admin, and Facebook themselves, are going to be happy. And if done correctly, we can also post links back to our content to get that actual traffic. So how do we actually incentivize those 3 groups? We do that by posting native content into the community. So when we first enter the community with the post, we don't link back at all. Because remember, Facebook and the group admin want to keep people engaged within their group, so you need to show them your content is good enough. You need to give them something in return for them allowing you to put your link back out to your blog to get that traffic. So here is the actual post that got that number of comments and likes, and we're just going to quickly run through what I'm doing here to get engagement and to give value to those people within their group, because I know from my research that this group is full of my customer avatar as per video 1. So, quick pattern interrupt. When people are scrolling through content within a group, any sort of Me Too stuff that they're used to, they're just going to sort of ignore. If you can do something right at the start of the post to wake people up, that is always good. Remember, the whole sort of tenet behind this process, the free traffic server formula, is that stories are like crack to humans. So if you can start telling a story within your post, that's going to also maintain that attention. Clearly state the desired end result that your customer wants to achieve. Answer any objections that people may have once you start telling your story, and talk about the desired end result. Call out a common enemy. We won't go too deep into why this works, but a community or your group is only as strong as your as there are people that are not in your group. So if you can call out a common enemy, this basically gets people to warm to you more. You can see I'm calling out people that drop ship rubbish businesses. This story or this content was for our product called Sneeze, which was a Facebook app for Shopify stores building real brands. So our enemy to that was people that weren't building real brands. It's really useful to add bullet points so people can just scan through them, and then invite people to join you on the journey, on this story that you're going to be telling, and then finally give an initial CTA for a like or comment if people want to see your content. Now what this does, if you get most of these right, you'll have people liking and commenting on your post, which gives great engagement. It tells Facebook and the group admin that this is good content, and then when you update the post and in the comments of that post a link back to your content, Facebook will be happy and the group admin will not ban your post and will allow you to take some of that attention you've originated in their group and take it back to your site, and they'll be happy for you to do that. So that is the gatekeeper theory. It's understanding incentives, giving those people what they want. Let's jump back to the gatekeeper definition. So it's understanding what the gatekeepers want, understanding what their incentives are, fulfilling those incentives, and then only then are you going to be able to get the traffic that you deserve. And so yes, we've been through the Facebook example, but this process works for any online community that has a gatekeeper, whether that's Reddit, Google+, forums, or LinkedIn. That brings us to the end of video 2. Your homework, as per the worksheet below, is to simply find those communities and detail who your gatekeepers are. And that's going to be super, super important when you come to implementing the full free traffic forever formula. Now, in video number 3, I'm going to explain this with a metaphor. You know when you're, if anybody here has done a jigsaw before, where you have all the pieces scattered over the table, and you have the image that you're trying to create with the jigsaw on the box of the jigsaw, and you're slowly but surely bringing those jigsaw pieces together, and then ultimately you have this like immense clarity and feeling of well-being when you bring that jigsaw, that image together. Now what video 3 is going to do is exactly that. I've sort of spoke about disparate parts of the free traffic forever formula, but what I'm going to be outlining in video 3 is the actual unified theory of free traffic forever, which the core tenets are understanding exactly who you're helping, what their desired end result is, who the hero is, telling that story of them on their journey to the desired end result, and then promoting that content, and then ultimately converting those people that are viewing the content into leads and customers. So that is the overview, but I'll be sharing that in an image form in video 3, just so you can take what you've learned in video 1 and video 2 and the homework that you've done, and then implement that throughout the full free traffic forever process. So that is going to be happening in the next video. It's going to be released in a couple of days. But just to kind of remind us why we're doing this is to ultimately, like I did when I failed with that launch that you saw at the start of this presentation, is to become the person that actually gives people what they want. And ultimately, when we do that, we're going to spur the innovation with internet businesses and then these large corporations that are not innovating, not creating new value for the world. We are going to win, and we are going to make the world a much better place. So thank you so much for watching video 2. I look forward to seeing you in video 3. And now I need you to download the worksheet. And if you have any questions, comment in the comment box below. Thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.